Do you know what this is?
It looks like a pilot.
It does. He's a
Or ringer is a captain.
Yes. It's a logo.
Love book
Oh,
captain.
wouldn't that be fun?
Can you see? The face actually is, I don't know if you can see, it's just palms.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's just palms.
So it's just a uniform sitting on a chair.
So it's
Illusion.
Oh, you mean there's a word that describes it?
there's a word that describes it. And it's a little out of date, because I don't know that we carry these around anymore, but it's a palm pilot.
Pilot, of course. Yes, okay. There's beer in that bottle.
Yes! It's a light beer. It's a light beer. See, the blood is going. We're getting better at this.
Girl cats.
Big cats. Big cats. Two cool cats would work, wouldn't it? It's dandelions. Have you heard that term? This is a good one.
That's a peanut.
Yeah.
So that's that peanut guy for planters, eh? He's got broken nuts.
Cracked nut. What happened to it?
You fell down.
Why?
Because he's old. And he hasn't been doing great.
Is it old nut?
Hard not to crack.
No, he's actually about 21. Tell me when you give up. Yeah, it's an assalted peanut.
Eggplant?
Yes, eggplant. Well done. Yes, you said Dr. Pepper.
What's that?
Yeah.
Is that cake?
So yeah, it's a table with a hole in it.
Oh, pool table.
All right.
I couldn't see that.
Yeah, it was hard to see.
That's what, oh, okay. Oh.
That's a batting.
It's a cricket bat. There's more to it.
Yeah, there is.
I see a baseball in his belly.
All right. So he's
Baseball bat.
A baseball bat. See the baseball in his belly? You're not looking, I can't see it.
I can't see it in baseball.
Oh.
What kind?
Belly. Tap dancer.
Yes, tap dance. Well, I'm going to start doing brain gym all the time.
That's a fish. A spotted fish. It's that hard sushi. Love fish? Love fish.
Smoked fish.
Oh, those are decks of cards. Okay.
Yes.
Pocket game.
Close.
King of Hearts.
King of Hearts.
Is that a chocolate bar? So it looks like to me.
Is it a Band-Aid? Yes, it's a Band-Aid.
Oh.
Close.
See this?
It's another name for a crocodile. Well, they're different, but they're
Alligator.
So it's
See you later.
An alligator.
and a Band-Aid.
Oh.
It's no, it's a Gatorade.
Oh.
Flower with the eyes.
Yes, I thought.
Is that an alligator?
That's Gatorade.
That's Gatorade. All
That's
right.
Gatorade. mine, I didn't check.
Horse of a different color. Close, you know, but no. It's a female horse.
Nightmare.
Yes.
No more for you. Oh, holy cow. Holy cow.
Holy. No. And love.
Holy cow.
No, close though.
Full milk.
Yes! All right.
It's so easy, but it's not.
But it's not.
Yeah, you see it.
So I hope everybody's feeling good because we're going to talk about anger now. So think about the last week. And I'm going to pass out scales and pencils. Don't let your neighbor see what you're writing. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how is the angriest you felt this week? So 0 or 1 is no anger. 10 is you're going to burst. And then fold it. No. Yes.
When does this start? Something?
That's what I said to you. Okay. 10 is one day when my kids were little and my brother and sister-in-law were over and they were from out of town. And when they came to visit, it was a holiday for them. So I had given everybody breakfast and my husband had gone off to school and they were reading the paper. So we have 4 toddlers. And yeah. And I go for a jog with my friends. The most I've ever done is 2 miles or 2 kilometers or something. And I come back to the house and my brother-in-law and his wife are sitting there reading the newspaper with their coffee, and there are 2 inches of water on my kitchen floor, and all the wood from the workshop in the basement up, and the kids are hammering and nailing, and I don't know what they're doing, but I went out and ran 2 more miles. I've never done that in my life, but whoa, was I angry. So that would be a 10. I didn't tell anybody, but it would be a 10. So I'm going to tell you about an incident when Elaine is tabulating what we're doing here. It was about 13, 14 years ago, and I was on chemo, and I had been teaching in Algonquin. And my boss phoned and said, we're having a special cancer day for professionals, and would you come and talk about what it's like being a nurse on the other side? And I said, I'll do that, but I want to bring my husband, because I think it's more difficult to be the caregiver. So off we go, and we haven't talked about what we're going to talk about. And nobody wanted to hear from him, which may be some of your experience, that the patient is the patient. That's the most important thing, and the caregiver is off to the side somewhere. So I kind of had to say, my husband's going to talk now. And he stood up and he said, my first reaction was, she got her wish. Because I have a long family history of breast cancer. So every year I go for a mammogram and we beat one in, right? And then his second response was, who the hell does she think she is getting cancer when we're looking at retirement? His third reaction was, if she dies, her problems are over and my problems will just begin. How do I date? How do I get back into life? So what would be your reaction to that if you were one of the group of nurses or social workers sitting in that room?
Be crushed.
Crushed, did you say? Okay.
As a retired nurse myself, we just ago brought me to tears.
Okay.
He's being honest.
Thanks for telling me.
I think it was very realistic. He had a lot of feelings. Did you know any of that before you went to that lecture, to that group?
It's a good question. I was shocked is probably too strong a word. I got back into the car and he said, "Are you okay with what I said?" So there's two parts of you, right? There's the emotional me as the patient. What? You were angry? And then there's the intellectual part, especially being a nurse, where you realize that those feelings are normal. And when I've shared that, when I've worked with families and I've shared that, probably 95% of the response I've gotten has been tears. That somebody understands that it's not just me feeling that anger, and that fear, right? It's not just me. Your husband did too, and you haven't divorced him, so I guess it's okay. Yeah. All right. So where are we on this anger thing?
Well, I can understand it because I've been on the receiving end of a caregiver for roughly 5 years now. And I was a nurse as well, I'm a charge nurse. And there are times when he's just had to lash out on us because he's angry with the fact, let's say, that I'm, not doing my exercises or not putting ice on. In other words, I'm not making any effort in his eyes. And this past winter, we were down in Mexico for 3 months, and I fell, and he was really livid. Like, it wasn't the cobblestones that made me fall, it was me. That I was just being trying to be independent and walking away from the crowd that I was with. So I can certainly understand the anger, but you, the person that's being cared for, also has that anger, so it's kind of a feedback mechanism, like you can just end up enmeshed in this tirade, because what he said to me when I fell actually was, he said, "I'm never taking you on a holiday again," and I'm sure he doesn't mean it, but there's always that possibility. Yeah.
We'll know next winter.
I get sore and sick, sore and tired, and I'm just so tired of whining all the time. And I'm pretty sure my husband's pretty tired of whining too. So when we have words, it gets to be a very long drive in the quiet. And then I try to hang on to the anger. I really try, but after a while you just gotta say, "Turn here," or "Let's have supper," or "What do you want for supper?" I mean, eventually you have to speak. So, but I mean, he's known many years if he offends me or upsets me, he gets peace and quiet.
So, when they want peace and quiet, they don't want to do.
There's all grin on his face at the same time. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of us are pretty angry. 9, or had episodes this week of anger, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, and some of us didn't have very much at all, and the rest are in the middle.
Can you turn that just
Yes.
a quick?
That's interesting.
So we are a diverse group, pretty normal.
That's this week. Okay.
Come back next week.
So what we need to remember, and what that group had all gone with, who were actually quite angry at my husband, need to remember is anger is normal. Can everybody say that? Can you read this?
Anger is normal.
And it's a mature emotion. Can you believe that? I'm going to stand over here because it's really hot over there, if you don't mind. Why would it be a mature emotion?
Because you're not shutting it down, you're
Okay.
trying to express it.
Yeah, now, anger can be a free card to jail, or it can give you the impetus to do something more positive with your life. It's mature because it's normal, and we all feel it, obviously. And I don't think everybody here is a caregiver, and maybe the ones who aren't are the one, I'm not so sure. But it's a normal emotion. We see it in all animals, so it's not just humans. And it's an emotion that tells us that something needs to change. So don't feel guilty about it, because guilt just adds to the anger. and it makes things worse. So if you're feeling angry, just go, well, I'm just like the cats and dogs down the street because they feel angry too, right? It's a normal.
There's that B-I-T-C-H word.
That's right, just like the dog down the street. Now, this is not the one I wanted. Where are my notes? Up in here. Are they there? Yeah. This is my meditation. My notes. Oh, well.
On top of your computer there.
Okay. So anger can be a response to loss, and when I lost my notes, I was feeling a little stressed, and out of that can come anger. And it's usually a result, so it's a result of loss, and the loss could be your feeling of contentment, your feeling of security. So when I said to my husband, I've got breast cancer, his immediate reaction was one resulting in loss, because all of a sudden, if you've had cancer, you know, or any disease that doesn't go away, normal is very different. So it's a loss of what was normal. It's a loss of the security that we felt that we're never going to die. That loss of the feeling that we're never going to get sick, we're never going to lose our jobs, all those things you felt when you were 30 or 20 and you still kind of carry through. So it's a normal reaction to loss. It's a normal reaction to feeling threatened. As my husband said, if she dies, what am I going to do? Who's going to make the meals? Who's going to load the dishwasher? Actually, he did really, really well when I was on chemo. He was a saint. But it's a normal reaction to feeling threatened. The status quo is no longer there. You're going to get angry. So if it's a response to being threatened, remember the cortisol that Elaine talked about in the first week. Your cortisol goes way up. So you want to run away, or you want to fight, and our house was broken into once. I spent 2 whole nights wide awake dreaming or planning how I would put buckets of bleach over the door. So the next time that person broke in, they would be surprised. And that was anger, right? Because there was a loss of security, not a loss of much of anything else, but that loss of feeling that I'm secure in my home. So it's a normal reaction. You can run, you can fight, but most of us as caregivers, especially if you're on the 9 to 10 there, as a caregiver, you can't fight. You can't yell at the person you're caring at. You can't hit them. I brought a rolling pin. You can't hit them with the rolling pin. But we all know what we can do with a rolling pin, right? Yes. So remember what she told us last week? So take your rolling pin and rub it up and down. Just don't hit with it. So we can't fight. We can't, pardon? No. Somebody says that? Can't get away. So what do? Because we've got all this cortisol running through our bodies and we're angry. And you remember when Elaine talked with us, what happens when that cortisol stays in your body? Your blood pressure goes up, your pulse goes up, you can't sleep, your appetite goes down or way up. You can get stomach cramps. Anger, at that point, is not good if it goes on for a long period of time, because it's going to affect not just your relationship with your loved ones, but certainly your own physical health. So on the one hand, I want you to know that anger is normal. And we all feel it, and all the animals feel it, and it's okay, and don't feel guilty. But you need to do something about it, right? So what do you do when you're angry?
I know what I do. My mom died at our home. I looked after her for 6 months. She had cancer. And I vacuumed.
All right.
And Dr. Cologne came in one day. I left the door open. I knew she was coming, and she said, "What are you doing?" I said, "When I'm stressed and I'm angry, I vacuum." She said, "You go right to it and vacuum."
And this is my address.
Well, she didn't give me her address. But a number of times she came, and she just knew, go sit in the kitchen until I was finished vacuuming.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Productive way.
Anything else? What do you do?
I try and analyze the situation and figure out what triggered the anger. and sort of like, what can I do about it? Can I frame it in a different context, or do something about the situation to change it so that I don't have that anger?
Okay. So kind of almost a cognitive behavior therapy. You're changing your thoughts. I had an incident this week, and I almost used this. So my husband has hearing aids. Does he wear them? No. Does anybody wear hearing aids? No. And I really do try to keep my mouth shut, but there are days. So he said something about we were out, or he didn't hear the conversation, and I said, then wear your hearing aids. And he said, roll over. I was lying in bed. So I rolled onto my side, and he got right by my ear, and he went, shh. He said, that's what it sounds like all the time when I'm wearing hearing aids.
Oh,
Really? And he said, and it rattles around, and he's gone to the therapist a million times. It rattles around, it clinks, it's not comfortable in the ear canal. And he said, you sound just like my audiologist. Just wear them more. He said, well, bad me. So I was producing guilt, right? And I was saying by my statement, I don't understand where you're coming from. And so it was kind of the same thing. What is going on? So now I don't think I'm quite as angry when he doesn't wear hearing aids, because I understand.
it's a shame.
Yeah, yeah. I said at the first class that it had started because I have friends in this congregation. I'm sure some of you are in the same situation, where you're not actually a caregiver, but your spouse or family member has a situation that is changing dynamics. So it started off with people saying, my spouse has diabetes. They don't take the medication. They're supposed to exercise every day. They don't. Had dessert 3 times yesterday. So that anger is coming from, again, a threat of loss. Because if my spouse doesn't follow what he's supposed to do for his diabetes, guess who becomes the widow? Or maybe even worse, guess who has to look after the person with an amputated leg or going to dialysis 3 times a week? So it's a threat to my security that my spouse is not doing what he's supposed to do for his diabetes or his COPD or his overweight or whatever the situation is. So we tend to respond with anger because it's threatening who we are and it's threatening our future. And that is okay. And it's normal. But you need to talk it out. So it was really good, actually, that when I said, wear your hearing aids, instead of my husband walking out of the room, he said, let me demonstrate what this is like for you. Let me educate you. So then I could apologize, and we could have that conversation. So you're right, that kind of intellectual education is one way of dealing with it. Anything else?
I do knitting.
All right.
Things get productive.
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. Anything else?
I go to my room, so I'll calm down, or I'll just chill. And it's a sanctuary. Yeah, it has lots of light, and there's several choices of things to keep me busy or not busy. There's a rocking chair and so on. So I just try to remove myself from retaliation and figure out when I'm going to start talking again.
Do you remember several here know my mother-in-law when she was still alive? And there were many, many times, she lived with us for 12 years. And she would come out and she would be so angry with me. And I'm thinking, oh gosh, now what has happened to her today? So I used to say, do you know what? I'd like you to go back to your room and I will talk to you in about an hour. So I just let that hour go, and by the time an hour had gone by, she calmed down a little bit. But I used to just let an hour go by, and then she'd shut the door and just be very angry, and I would just knock, can I come in? And and then we'd have a conversation.
Good.
But I never ever got at her at the moment. I really had to bite my tongue. I had to keep her up there.
Yeah.
I couldn't let her into my inner space at all.
Yeah.
Keep her up there.
But anger is reactionary, and it is an art to learn how to reply to, because you're pent up, you want to be heard or whatever, and it really is an art to be able to say, okay, and walk away and come back.
Yeah, it's hard work to
It
do
is
that.
really.
It's hard work to do that.
Because
I'll
you're
tell you.
on the defensive.
Think, oh my God, she's still
Because
gonna be
it's
angry.
worse if you react in the
Oh,
moment,
absolutely.
it just
Yeah,
intensifies
it
things.
does.
Yeah, good.
Often I think that's a good, what you're just saying, it makes sense with regards to Alzheimer's disease and dementias. And in some ways, the proof with regards to Alzheimer's and dementia, a certain nature of it is that if the person's extremely angry and you try to shift them into thinking differently or cajole them or, talk to them about it and it's not going anywhere, if you turn away from them for 15 minutes by figuring something else out, I just gotta go pick up the such and such, or whatever, out around the house, back in, give them 15 minutes, and if they change, then it's usually, you've broken that cycle for them with regards to that dementia or that aspect of dementia or the Alzheimer, and that's a very good point. And sometimes we think, I'm not going to lose this battle this time, and you're not going to win. And all you're going to do is end up angry yourself over it and feeling bad about it, So I agree with you on that one. That's a perfect answer to walk away. I'll get back to you in 15 minutes. I've got to do this first. Got to get the water out of the dryer.
Remember when we had kids and sometimes you locked yourself in the bathroom? And we could do it with adults too. Something I was going to say, and I can't think of what it was. We had a gentleman, and you might have remembered him. He was on service, and he went through 24 PSWs who refused to go back because he was so rude. He was a very angry man, and he had nurses in tears and his poor family. Anyway, we had this new PSW come in, and she walked in, and the family were all around the bed, and she said, "Hi, I'm so and so." He said, "Go to hell." She said, "I've already been there, and that's why they sent me to you." And he burst out laughing, and they were like that. Yeah. She could. Yeah. So instead of responding to anger with anger, which we can often do, she just responded with humor. Now, that being said, anger is a normal, natural reaction, and you don't want to put it down. You don't want to belittle somebody who's feeling angry. So you need to know the person. She didn't know this guy, so she really lucked out on that one. Now, anger can also be secondary to other emotions. Frustration, jealousy, how sometimes you're feeling jealous. Like my neighbor, her husband's really healthy, and they go off on trips together, and they ski together, and here I am as a caregiver, and we can't go anywhere. So that feeling of jealousy can also bring up anger, right? And it's okay. That's perfectly normal to feel those things.
When they don't remember you, when they don't say the right name, when they're talking about the girlfriend from when he was 12 instead of my mother.
Sometimes you just need to be acknowledged.
Yes.
I find when I'm doing it with outsiders, it's okay, but when it's close to someone I care a lot about and I don't live there, I think it's fear-based, and I end up yelling. And it's the last thing I should be doing, but I've just tried the talking, probably too much, and I've tried everything else, and it's just, I don't know what to do, but it's all fear-based for me.
Yeah. I think it is for most people when you look into it, yeah.
Mostly it's threat to security, threat of, I think threat of failure comes in here, but mostly being very insecure. What's happening in my life. And feeling like I have no control.
And the control thing is significant because if you're a caregiver, you take over. You take over as you need to, as you move along. And when there's no cooperation with that, you're so extremely frustrated, like the diabetic spouse or whatever. Now I've lost the other half of the sentence. Before the control.
You know, you're
Here,
still
it's not-
caught, yeah,
here.
and the frustration, you're caught in the
That's it,
frustration right now.
that's it. And so you're, all of a sudden, how can I keep going? This is going to get worse and worse and worse. This is going to get harder and harder. And I'm like, gosh, we're only at, year 2, and I've got 2 more, or 1 more, or X number of months left. I don't know. If you don't cooperate, if you don't do what I say, if you don't listen to me, because this is all I can give you right now, then that anger is hard to manage.
Yeah.
I'm doing the best I can, but we all feel that that's not enough.
I was just thinking that sometimes we do try our best, and why can't that be enough? But what it is, it's self-inflicted. We inflict this, but our good isn't good enough.
And good is never good enough, right? So we just have to accept that we're human. I think Jesus felt that sometimes his efforts weren't good enough either. And he was Jesus, and so who do we think we are, right? Yeah, and so you're doing your best, and your best one day may be phenomenal, and your best the next day may be marginal, because you're human. So we can't always be right on top of things, and we just have to say, I'm doing my best for where I am today. Absolutely. Now, there's internal things that can cause anger too, so it may not just be the outside situation. Years ago, obviously years ago, my husband said to me, how come my behavior changes according to where you are in your menstrual cycle?
Where's that rolling pin?
I know. And it's true. If I'm tired, stressed, hungry, hormonal, menopausal, boy, if he empties the dishwasher, I should be happy. He doesn't do it right. Right? There's nothing he can do to make me happy. Cheryl's nodding. So sometimes you have to sit back and go, what's going on? So I'm not, and again, it's that intellectual thing. Is what happened outside really enough to justify this anger that I'm going to hit somebody with a rolling pin, or if there are other things going on? For me, it tends to be fatigue, and I don't pick it up until I find out that, I just want to move out west and have no contact with anybody in my family ever again. and my family is actually really good compared to a lot of them. So it's fatigue, and if I can get 12 hours sleep or go off and see a movie with friends, then things get better and people's behavior really improves. It's amazing.
I think one of the other areas too is hunger, not really, especially when you're caring for someone else, and especially if you're visiting into a care facility. You're on a different schedule, you're on their schedule, not your own. And one of the things we do know is that people can get overtired, forget that they've missed the meal or it's 2 or 3 hours late, and that alone can trigger for some people next to a migraine or just being on edge to the point where you're suddenly angry and you're thinking, I'm just angry at everything. And it could be just hunger and all those little things that you have to teach yourself, like putting the extra crackers and things in your purse or your pocket or whatever it is, just to make sure that doesn't happen.
And as caregivers, the other person's needs always come first. So we forget about meals, we forget about washing our hair that might make us feel better. We forget about all that self-care that Elaine talked about 2 weeks ago. So it's really important to lock yourself in the bathroom and say, what is going on here? Loneliness can also become anger, and maybe that's a bit of jealousy, but we need interactions with people who are dependent on us. And I hear from caregivers a lot, I can't leave because nobody can do the job as well as I can, which is true. I buy that. Nobody can care for your loved one as well as you can, but only when you're feeling well. So if you let yourself get to that point where you're isolated, lonely, tired, stressed out, hungry, any of those things, you're not going to be able to care as well as you normally would care.
Not to mention if you're menstrual at the same time.
That's right. Or menopausal, yeah, that's right.
And I also think too that when you say no one else can take care of the person, you may be in a situation at home or even in a care facility, heaven forbid, but it happens, that no one is going to be there to take care of them.
That's right. That's right.
And you're walking away. And there are times when you can't walk away. When you're at home and the person has Alzheimer's or a disability or is bedridden, you cannot walk away. And there may be no one else there to care for them. And you can get exhausted, you get angry with that, you wonder why no one else helps. And I do think, like with the verse today, and there are times when you think, God has forsaken me. He certainly hasn't sent anybody to help out, and it's one more night after one more night after one more night trying to get the person to bed. And I think that it would be abnormal, I think, to not be upset or angry or frustrated or cry or whatever those things are for you during that time like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And crying is fine. And I think saying to, with dementia is a little bit different, but I think saying to somebody who's dependent on you, you know what, I need a night off. And I know you don't like so-and-so, but they're going to come and sit, well, I go out with friends or something. And you may get some feedback about that. You can't leave me, and I don't like this person sitting with me. But like a friend of mine had her mom at home till she was 101. And my friend she died at 106. And my friend was 70, I think, or she was 70. And a friend of hers fell and broke her hip. And Joan realized, I could slip and break my hip or come down with a flu, and then what's going to happen to Mom? So she did place her in a retirement residence, which was not her first choice. But she said it's a whole lot better than what's going to happen to Mom when I get sick, because we all get sick, break our hip or whatever. So we need to realize that sometimes it can't be perfect. You do the best you can, and we're all human. Anything else you want to add?
I think though what you just said is not as easy. I have my best friend whose husband's been in care for dementia for over 2 years. He was a mechanical engineer with the United Nations, and it breaks her heart. She goes every day, it breaks her heart, but I keep saying, you gotta get over this guilt. It's 2 years, and now she feeds him, and then she goes to the lady beside her and feeds her because there's not enough staff for care, and she's a retired nurse also. Maybe that's a little bit of nurse in her too, because she's got to make everybody well and better than that, but
it's very hard. Yep, it's really hard. And change is hard. We've talked about that. So if you've been giving 24/7, to ask you to take an afternoon off, it's really hard.
I allow myself 2 days.
Okay.
For myself. And it's been that way since Bob went into Madonna, and he's finally getting used to that I don't come on Monday and I don't come on Thursday. He
Okay.
doesn't like it, but it's better that I do that.
Yes, absolutely.
You need to hear something.
Yeah, absolutely.
too. I think we have to get over that feeling when we walk away or take time out. It doesn't mean we don't care, because I can get really hooked on that. I care so, and it changes.
Yeah, absolutely. So whatever it is you're feeling is normal, and it's okay, and it's fine to express that in a polite way. It's when we don't recognize those feelings, anger, frustration, even hunger, jealousy, any of the emotions that we call negative, they're not negative. The behavior resulting from them may be negative, but emotions just are. They're a reaction to what's going on. It's a chemical reaction inside our body that is causing those feelings. So if you put guilt on top of it, it's a whole lot worse. So my big message is, you don't feel guilty about your feelings. Everybody has them. Animals have them. It's part of being human. But it's what we do with it and recognizing. If if you think it's bad to feel angry, when I worked in psychiatry, inpatient, we had a wife of a teacher. And you know when she was admitted? Summer, reading week, Christmas, sometimes Easter. And then the teachers went on strike. And we said, guess who'll be coming in? And sure enough, in she came. So we were chatting one day over coffee, and I said, Margaret, you know, I'm just recently married, and I'm totally in love with my husband, but sometimes I get angry with him. And she said, oh, if you really loved him, you wouldn't get angry. So look at your history of admission. Does that tell you anything about how you're feeling about your husband? Oh, no, I love him. So this really affected this woman's mental health, right? We need to acknowledge what we're feeling and then find useful ways of dealing with it. Okay. Questions, comments?
When you were mentioning the anger, frustration, there's a word, halt. And that's the hungry, angry, lonely, and tired.
Good word, yes. Hungry, angry,
Lonely.
tired.
Well,